All right, go ahead. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Large Scale Consolidated Live with Dakman Productions and MrPictovid. On this series, we have a guest lined up, but we won't say his name quite yet. I just wanted to give a shout out to some people here in the chat first before we begin. Would like to say hello to Canadian Railroads. He's our first person who showed up for our live show. We got Cody. We also have Ken Miller. It's a pleasure to have you aboard watching us tonight. And Bruce, glad to see you aboard. If you guys would like to have your YouTube or names mentioned, just say something in the chat and we'll try and bring you up here. And so welcome Andrew from MrPictovid or Pictovid. And
whichever way you like to say it.
Yeah, whichever way you like to say it, right?
Just not late for supper.
So go ahead and take it away, Andrew.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in for our show tonight. I know it's a week early. You know, like we said in our last show, we bumped it up a week to kind of skip around the day after Thanksgiving. So, here we are, of course. Looks like we've got quite a few people tuned in already to watch. Glad to see all of you. Well, looks like we got a couple more people dropped in there, Sean. We got our friend John Sinkovich popped in, and looks like we also got the Columbus Garden Railway Society.
Oh, so, great.
Thanks to both of you for dropping in on us. We hope hope you find the show enjoyable tonight. So our guest tonight, as we were going to say, is Matt Russell. I was going to say, if you've been to an RLD Hobby Open House, you probably have met him. But if you've been to an RLD Hobby Open House, you've probably met a lot of people. But if you've been there, you've probably met Matt and know him. And he's going to come on tonight and tell us a little bit about himself, what got him into the hobby, and his layout, what all he's done with that, some projects that he's done, and just kind of have a general, chat session just about G-scale trains in general. I think everybody will find it pretty enjoyable. I think the time will fly right by.
Right, and that's what our show is geared towards, the large scale / G-scale community. We're trying to reach out and these hard times of COVID and the train show shutdowns and the disappearance of Garden Railways magazine. We're trying to bring our community together and to try and support each other. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and add Matt to the stream. And here he is. Welcome, Matt, everybody.
Hello.
How you doing tonight?
Doing well. Hope everybody's doing well as well.
And do you see any familiar faces? We have Ken Miller on board.
Has the chat pulled up or not there?
I don't have the chat pulled up. I'm not sure how to do that.
That's fine.
Full screen right now.
We got quite a bit of people watching us tonight. It looks like we got 22 watching. And if anybody has any questions along the way, we'll try and stop, and I'll highlight the questions so Matt can see them. And what'll happen is it should show up on the screen. Can you see that, Matt?
Yeah, I see that one.
So that's how it's going to show up if I highlight something.
Yep, I saw Cody.
Yep. It's like Matt said hi.
You know,
Matt,
hey,
or
hey,
not
kid.
Matt, Ken Miller rather.
And-
Ken Miller said hi, Matt.
Yep.
And if anybody like sees me looking up to the side here, I'm not like ignoring people. I'm actually looking at another screen to look at the chat. So don't go, oh, that guy's kind of arrogant. He's just like not paying attention to us.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
Andrew's
multitask.
Yeah, Mr. Pictovid is using like 3 different screens, so he's looking all over the place. So, Matt, let's go ahead and get the show rolling here.
Okay.
So, what got you into the large scale or G scale hobby, and when did you actually start the hobby?
The hobby in trains or just G scale?
G scale.
G scale was about 5 years ago. Well, I take that back. I'll go way back. When I was a kid, me and my father had a Bachman big hauler set that went around the Christmas tree. We went to Sam's and got that. Lord, I probably wasn't 7th, 8th grade at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, we had, and I actually still have it. It's in the house now. I use it just more display purposes, but I was in the HO scale, and when I moved into this house that we're in now, I didn't have a basement, so I got to thinking. I was like, I wonder if I could put that train outside, and I started Googling like hobby shops in my area, and RLD Hobbies showed up. So I went up there, and I'm like, oh my Lord, you can do this in G scale? I was like, I had no idea. So I came back home and I did some more research online, and it was like, okay, so the Bachman steel track is no bueno outside. And there was like several things like, and that engine's probably not going to last long outside either. So I'm like, okay, so this is what we need to do. We need to buy some brass track, and I'll just do a small loop, and I'll be tickled to death with maybe 50 feet of track and an engine and 3 cars. That was my whole thought process approximately 5 years ago.
Okay, and then you actually started building on to a layout.
Yeah, once I got the track down out back and I built a fire pit, I was sitting out there next to the fire one night. I was like, well, I could go a little further around the fence and then come back around. So I did that because I had a little extra track. And I'm like, that looks neat. It's like, but I'm going to have to weed eat around this track and mow. And so I need to get some pave stones. And I went and bought, I don't know, probably 40 or 50 pave stones, just, the blocks. Was happy with that for probably a week or two. And I was back outside with the fire. I was like, let's not level. It's got to be level. And then I bought 3 skids of of those blocks to level everything out, and built a frame against the back of the fence to support like the dirt. So I've got the track actually sits in concrete fiberboard, and rock is in it. So there's drainage. So I don't have any kind of frost heave or anything. And then I backfilled on both sides of it when I did it. And it just snowballed. That took a whole summer just to haul dirt in. I'm like,
Wow.
yeah.
I can understand that.
The hardest part is actually the building of the G scale, getting all your landscaping done, correct?
Without a doubt. That I did not take that into consideration at all. Dealing with the real world and real grades and I've got real causeways in my backyard. So when it rains a whole bunch, there'll be certain streams that kind of come through. So you have to deal with those too. So I've got bridges over areas because there had to be bridges over those areas. I just couldn't fill it in with dirt because that's going to dam it up and it's just going to come over and wash it off as it comes across. So it's a whole different world outside of G scale. It really is.
And it's more or less like real railroading in a way, just because of what you're saying, because you got to go around you're outdoors and you're actually you're challenged by the real things that a real railroad goes through, as far as water runoff and hills and inclines and stuff like that. so you're sort of like, you have to get everything within a certain spec for your trains to run reliably without having washout.
Yep. Don't want washouts. I don't want to have to chase a train around my whole yard trying to put it back on the tracks. I want to be able to sit in one spot and watch the train go by, and then 20 minutes later it comes back around and sees me again. I don't want to have to chase it if I don't want to. Now, if I'm doing like some switching and stuff, that's fine. But if I don't want to, I'd like some reliability, and it's difficult. It's a process.
And do you have a switching yard on your layout?
Not yet, but I have a siding with 2 spurs. One of them is a feed mill that'll hold 3 grain cars, and then the other one is loosely modeled after the Scott Ladd warehouse that was in El Dorado, Illinois, when I was growing up.
Let's see. I think I got a picture of the warehouse here. I can drop in the chat for us.
It'll hold 1 regular height boxcar, and that's how they had them back then. No excess height cars. Yeah, that it still has a lot of work to go. I need some details on the roof. The fence on the backside's done now, so that helps. But
that's really nice looking. I like that, Matt.
It was all individual pieces from Colorado Models.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, that was all scratch built. I just randomly grabbed panels off their website, and then the whole inside is completely braced up too. So every joint has braces all the way through it. It's not a light structure at all.
I like how you have the door open to be able to.
And
does the track go inside the building then, or is it end right there at the front?
Nope, it goes all the way in. You can actually push that boxcar all the way in, just like they could back then. And I'm going to get where you can put a roll down door, or it'll look like a roll down door, because then they could close the door and keep the winter months from.
I was going to ask, any critter issues?
Leaves. There's a crap ton of leaves in there right now because I've got maple trees all around that fence in my neighbor's property, and they don't go in her yard, they go in mine. So
the biggest question I have is, do you have a name for your garden railroad?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's the MM&R.
And what does that stand for?
The Matt, Melissa, and Rachel Railroad.
Oh, okay.
My wife, my daughter, and myself.
Cool. Because I know, some railroads, they'll pick out something, either a kids and family name, or they'll pick like something, from their area, like Maple Leaf and Oak Railroad or something like that. But
yeah.
So do you have, do you name your warehouses like this one, like a junction or warehouse? Do you give your places actual names?
I did in the beginning, but I do now. So that's the Scott Ladd warehouse that I loosely modeled. So this siding is the for the feed mill, the SR&B feed mill, which stands for Susan, Ruby, and Buster, and those are my 3 cats.
Oh, there you go.
So the SR&B feed mill siding is what started all of this, and then the Scott Ladd warehouse showed up, and then they got a spur. So it's the SR&B siding right now.
So I'm looking at this picture of the warehouse there, and I'm looking at the roof. Is that actually like a whole bunch of individual buildings, or?
That is individual roofs. Everything was built in a square, basically. So
okay.
The exterior panels, and then the interior has the Colorado Models structure pieces to hold everything together.
All right. So Steve Junks asked, "What did you use for the black fence? Looks great, Matt."
The black what now?
The black fence.
Oh, the black fence. That's a Pico fence. They're iron railing fence. I think it might have been 3 kits I used to make that, possibly, maybe 4, because it went up around the area where the people would go in. I kit bashed it, so I cut the sections to get them together because it's not meant to be that long. So
okay,
but yeah, it's just a Pico iron railing fence. I think I've had it outside for almost a year now.
Wow. And I like how you got the parking area for workers, I'm assuming.
I made the parking blocks just out of styrene and then painted them.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. I was actually going to round the edges to make it look like what you would see. And then I realized my OCD was going way too far, and nobody's going to see that but me. So they're actually just square, but they look good. They're good. I still may stripe the white stripes between the cars. I don't know. I was torn between doing that and leaving it the way it is. So
I actually like it the way it is.
Yeah, I think it looks good.
thank you.
Yeah, I really like that.
And do you ever host like an open house or like just an event where people come over and can see you run, or you pretty much just keep it private?
Yeah, I'm not really private. I mean, everybody in town knows I have this now, so they'll stop by. Robbie's open houses he has.
Word gets out, does it?
You what?
Word gets out, does it?
Pretty quick, yeah. It wasn't until I put the expansion on, the main line expansion. Then it was like, hey, you got trains in your yard? Maybe. Why? But Ken Miller's come by my house for the last, I guess, 2 years now before Robbie's open houses. And this last year he brought our friend too, Tyler. And there's some guys that are wanting to come by this coming spring. And I said, it's fine. You can come by. My wife puts on some chili in a crock pot or Italian beef in a crock pot, and we have food and run trains and hang out.
So the Columbus
Crock-Pot makes it nice and simple, you know.
Yeah.
And Stanley Albright was here last time too. I don't want to leave Stanley out. I like Stanley. He's a cool dude. So
The Columbus Garden Railway Society is asking, where are you located? That's up to you if you want to answer or not.
North City, Illinois, the middle of nowhere. We are really deep southeastern Illinois. I'm about an hour from Evansville, Indiana, and about an hour from Paducah, Kentucky. I'm down in that corner.
And how far away does that make you from RLD Hobbies?
About 35, 40 minutes.
Oh, I think I'd be down there every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that gives people a general idea how close you are to your RLD Hobbies.
Yeah, everybody hates me when I go there. They're like, "You're going home?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "It's like 30 minutes. I'll be back tomorrow morning." Sorry, Robbie comes to my house, so like everybody kind of hangs out when you're close. So,
oh, now you're just rubbing it in. Robbie comes to your house. Jeez.
Yeah. Every time he comes by, though, the last several times he's come by, though, I've not been home, and he gives me crap. He's like, "You say you're always home, and then you're not home." Yeah, my bad.
So would you say RLD Hobby being as close to you as it is what really kind of what I want to say egged this along with diving deep in the G scale?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Without a doubt, he helped so much. And then he turned me on to a guy in Nashville, Illinois, Andy Clark and Jane Clark. Without a doubt, that spooled things along pretty quickly before I knew what happened. Yeah.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
And do you go to his event every time he has it? Are you normally there?
Yeah. I go there every time. It's supposed to be just a 2-day event, but guys show up early in camp, so I can't take that much time off of work, but I'll go up both days. I'll go Friday, Saturday.
I haven't been there yet, but from what I hear, it seems like every year somebody shows up like a little bit earlier than the year before. It's almost kind of like, Black Friday starting, 2 weeks before Black Friday,
Just this past Monday, I was talking to Robbie. I went up and hung out with Robbie at his store, and it's like, dude, do you realize like 4 years ago, there was maybe 8 or 10 of us, and we had 5-car trains, and we ran at your old store, not the one he's got now. I was like, what the crap happened? I was like, now everybody shows up with 60-car trains, and there's hundreds of us there. It's like, this is bizarre how blown up it's become.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize he had another location prior to where he's at now.
It was still in Albion, but it was actually in Albion downtown. He's kind of on the edge of town heading towards Mount Carmel now. But
okay.
Yeah.
I'll make it there eventually.
Oh yeah, you got to get there. It's a good time. I mean, gosh, his dad can cook some good food. Holy cow.
I was just looking to see, I pulled down a couple of, oops, what I wanted to do. pulled down a couple of videos to
No.
throw in there. I think I had one. It looked like it was from like maybe 2016 or so when you
Lord.
were working on your layout.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Probably pretty rough back then.
Yeah, you know what though? I mean, if I look at videos of my layout, it kind of looked like two ovals in a little corner of my yard. Let's see. Is that up there playing, Sean?
Hold on. Was in the chat. Yep, you're playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you have multiple screens. You can't tell what's going on.
So, what video are we seeing here, Matt?
Gosh, this might have been right after I bought my first set of AML Bethgons, from what it looks like. So that's a long time ago.
Looks like I don't. You know, we were looking at the pictures. I don't see like the buildings or anything. So that must have been when you first started out, huh?
Yeah, this was probably year 2 or early year 3. Because all the backfilling's done. Nothing's ballasted. That's just the 2-inch rock I used for drainage. So there's no trees, there's no sidings, no nothing there right now. And most of the cars aren't weathered. I started my weathering with the coal cars, but there's that green table I use for cutting stuff. It's gone.
If it works, it works.
Yeah, that was my cutting table when I was trying to cut track and whatever else outside. So yeah, there's nothing. The church isn't there. Yeah, that was just probably right after I got all the kinks worked out of the track and just started watching trains go around. And that was my first -9 I bought too.
Okay.
I probably only had one other engine at that time, I think. Maybe 2. I can't remember, but I didn't have a whole lot. That was probably my entire rolling stock at that time.
So as you were progressing along, Matt, did you have an envisionment of, you know, how far it was going to go, or was it just kind of like, you know, I'll go a little bit further and then I'll be happy with it?
Yeah, that's about how it went. It started with a circle and I'd be happy, and it was like, I'll do this and I'll be happy. And I was like, I'd like to do some switching, so I'll do a siding and a couple of spurs. And then I got all that done, and I'm still not done with that area of the layout. And I'm like, you know what would look really great? 60-car trains running. So let's do a mainline expansion. And that's what happened in the spring of this year, and went all the way around my fence. So I don't know if it, like a normal road, it'll never be done. But I never dreamed in a million years I would have this. I can remember as a kid going to train shows in Collinsville and seeing G-scale trains in a side room and just being mesmerized. I'm like, the sound, the size, I'm like, this is just amazing. And then going back out to the shelves, they had them where the tables were. And like, how does anybody even remotely afford that? And
Yeah.
And now it's like, I'm not sure what happened.
So Dunbar is asking if you would be talking about your weathering techniques during this live show, or if you could share some of them.
Yeah, I can. I did make a video on it. I don't know how far back it was when I made it. Gosh, the hill's not even there. I'm sorry, I'm watching the video as you guys are.
Getting distracted as well, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, the blocks. I can see where I've started moving the blocks and stuff because I didn't like how that looked. Anyway, so I used for weathering the Bragdon weathering powders. They come in just little cubes. Any car I get, I will shoot
get that sound down.
I'll shoot any car I get. I immediately shoot with a clear coat. I use a matte finish from. I don't know if I've got a can around here or not, but
I'm feeling cold watching this video.
Build the paint, and then I'll just apply the weathering powders as I go. And after I do one coat of weathering powders, I will do another coat of clear coat, let that dry. Most cars, I probably have 20. hours in, probably weathering at least. I'll do 2 or 3 hours a night. It's not like I do it all at one chunk. I'll do 2 or 3 hours a night through the week over the course of several weeks. So
do you stick to powders or do you do washes at all? Or
it's just powders. I'll like on the CSX SD40-2.
Mhm.
I actually took some of the rust colors and some water and used that to dab on the frame to make rust spots. And I've done it a couple of times on some cars, and I like how that works better than using just the dry powders and trying to make the streaks. It was a trial and error issue. I screwed up a bunch of cars. Some of them look rough. There's a couple of those cold cars that are pretty nasty looking, but
I got another video I can drop in here.
Columbus Garden Railway Society asked, the lights look really steady. Are you running battery power?
all battery power.
Really? You're all battery power, man. I didn't know that.
No, I know.
I thought you were track power.
I tried track power in the beginning. I really did. I'm not kidding. I actually have it underneath the sandstone patio I put coming up because I was going to put a mailbox and have the transformer in it. That was how I was going to go, and I had to clean track twice before I could run trains. And I'm like, nah, I'm not doing this. And I went and saw Robbie. And he goes, I told you so. You're not going to want to do that. He goes, just switch to battery power if you're outside. You can just put a train on the track and you can let it rip. So that's all I wanted to do.
Very nice.
I put the switches in there.
I see Joseph Lipinski said, come to the battery power side. We have cookies. I don't know. As long as they're not oatmeal raisin. Cookies shouldn't have raisins in them.
Oh, right.
Now, I seen there was a car in here with graffiti on it. Do you do your own graffiti work?
No, actually, I purchased that off eBay. When I found those, I messaged Charlie Zimmerman. He's on G Scale.
Those are the ones that he did, aren't they?
Yes, they were. Because I said, hey, there's some guy selling pictures of your cars with graffiti on them. He goes, nope, it's fine. That's all we're doing. I'm like, okay, I just want to make sure it was legit. So I
did the same thing. I saw him and I messaged him right away too, going, hey.
Like,
he says, nope, it's okay.
Yeah, that's what he's like, yeah, I've seen those cars. Yeah, there's still a feed mill in the background there. Holy cow. I need to go back and watch my old videos more often, I guess.
So what would you say to somebody who hasn't weathered before but would like to get their hand or try their hands at it? How would you recommend going about weathering something or trying it out?
I would buy a cheap car, but it has to be G scale. I was going to do like a HO scale in the beginning, and I had guys tell me it's not the same thing. It won't look the same. So make sure you get a G scale car, buy one that you don't care about because you're probably going to mess it up. When you're weathering, your lights inside, the fluorescent lights, look completely different than when you take the train car outside. It is
I'm
nice.
just grabbing a car real quick here because I see Dunbar said about Charlie does great work. This Union Pacific box car is actually one I got from Charlie that he weathered up, and he went rather grimy and dirty on this guy.
Yeah.
I mean, it you can go light on weathering, you can go heavy on it.
Yeah, but I've learned that you have to stop early, pretty much. Because I'll be doing, when I would do one, I'd be thinking, oh, it looks great. Just a little bit more would look even better. And the next morning, it's like, well, that went too far.
Now, when you're doing it with powders, like if you haven't clear coated it yet, after you've done the powder, is it fairly easy to kind of undo it? Can you kind of wash off what you've done, or?
You kind of sort of can, but there's always some left because when you clear coat something, it makes the surface a rough surface. So
kind of grips in there, does it?
Yeah, so you can't get it all off. So if you go way, way too heavy, you could probably use something to get most of it off. Water would be the best choice just to kind of scrape some of it off. When I did that, and that honestly, that's how I did the CSX engine. It was all water and weathering powders. I painted the whole engine and then wiped it off with paper towels. That's all I
Oh
did.
wow.
Yeah, that's how it's that grimy gray look. And then I used black for the vents. Oh, that's one of Marty Kozad's old rail guns.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Joseph is asking, nice railguns, those repainted or are those repainted Aristo gondolas?
It definitely
No,
looks custom there.
that's custom made. Marty Kozad made those. I've got 3 of them. They're all made out of styrene with metal wheels. He weathered them, lettered them, everything.
Now is the underframe on those like a reused like USA or Aristo underframe, or is it completely all scratch built?
All scratch built.
Wow, very
And
nice.
KD couplers too.
Got to
Yeah.
go with the KDs.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I learned that. the hard way.
Nothing against people that like to use hook and loop or Aristo or USA couplers.
No, but
I prefer the KDs. They just work.
yeah, and when I started running longer trains, my aristo couplers would just literally they would just
Let
pull
loose.
apart, and they would still be
Yeah.
locked, and the train would be sitting back here, and everything else was going that way. It was like, what the heck happened?
Yeah, I definitely had that happen to me a couple of times. Not to mention with the Aristo, the cars are even further apart.
Yeah.
Now, he used these, you mentioned before the show, he used these for his battery packs.
This one he did not. I have 3 of these cars. One of them he did, and he just cut a little hole out in the front of it so he could run the wires out, and used it as a trailing car for one of his engines. And it had I should have took a picture of that. It had a pretty neat load in it. It was made out of like foam board, and then I don't know what kind of metal he had glued to it, but it's pretty neat. I should have took a picture of that one. I wasn't even thinking. I just grabbed one and took a picture of it.
Looks like we had Mystic Southern Railway and Mike from Crossed Anchors drop in on us.
All right.
Thanks for popping in, guys.
Yes. All scale people are welcome here. You don't have to be a large scale or G scale person to enjoy our show. So we welcome everybody. Anybody who likes trains are welcome to view our show and let's talk trains.
And I may do another video at some point where I weather a car and do a more detailed version. The last one was hard to do. I didn't have a tripod or anything, so I was trying to video with my left hand and do stuff with my right hand, and it didn't turn out that well. But it was just kind of a brief instruction on how to get things halfway dirty and realistic. And a lot of people don't like things dirty and tagged, but I don't know.
I've always kind of like, somebody else does the weather and I can look at it and I like it. I don't know. I can't bring myself to do a car. I don't know. I feel like I lack that artistic ability,
I have zero artistic ability. Trust me. I cannot color inside of lines. So yeah, anybody can do it. It's just, I don't know. It's just random. The rail box car, the roof on it turned out pretty good. I wish I could remember exactly how I did it, but I know I spent probably 2 weeks just trying to get the texture that I wanted to see out in the sun on that thing. And it was a pain. Yeah, that's one of those Charlie Zimmerman.
Yeah. I like it. They came out really good.
I like that. See, the rust doesn't look that good on it, but I like the dirt. I mean, the rust streaks off the top of the car. I don't like. I mean, I don't know. I shouldn't care, but
Let's see, I got a picture of the top here. Where's that at?
The top, I could have done a little better, but yeah, you got
I think that looks good.
Yeah, got one spot that looks like it's rusting through. Yeah, that I like.
It's pre-Penn Central,
Yeah, still on the tracks.
So, MrPictovid, Heath is on board, and he's asking his favorite question.
Oh boy. Let me see. I'm going to take a guess. This is about hot dogs and sandwiches.
Yeah, he's asking, is a hot dog a sandwich again? You already know my answer.
I think your answer has to do with hoagies. Who wants to eat a hot dog or a sandwich when you can have a hoagie?
John mentions an easy way to start weathering is Indian ink and alcohol. That's interesting.
Indian ink? Yeah, I never heard of that either.
Indian ink they used to use for tattoos back in the day. Yeah, I've never heard of that. I know some people use, something to do a wash on the cars, and I can't think of what it is now. Some kind
simply give it a wash with a soft brush is what he says.
Yeah. I haven't heard they used any ink, but yeah, I've heard of doing a wash like that.
There's your friend Kenny Kincaid popping in. Hi, Kenny. We got several different people popping in. I haven't looked to see how many people are actually watching right now. Where are we at, Sean?
We're at 40 tonight, and I would like to thank everybody who's watching our live stream. It seems to be growing, and we're going to keep having guests, and keep the show going because, like I said, we're trying to create a channel where we can bring our G-scale community or large scale community together because it's between the train shows and everything else being on the wayside. We want to try and support everybody, and if you want to be on our show, just give me or MrPictovid a holler and we'll bring you aboard.
Yeah. I see Joseph, and I apologize if I'm saying his last name wrong. I believe it's Lipinski. He's asking Matt what kind of control system he's using.
Crest Revolution, all battery powered. Every engine's got its own Revo board in it. I'm probably going to get the new system out.
Don't say it. Don't say it. No, everybody's leaving me.
But I like it. It works great. The range is amazing on it. I can stand anywhere, even at Robbie's, and which I know nobody's been there that I know.
You're talking the Crest or the Crest? I told you not to say.
Yeah, the Crest. Yeah, the Crest Revolution. The range on that is, it says I think it's like 500 feet, and I know it's longer than that because my remote will work from one side of Robbie's layout to the other, and not have any kind of issues. So, and the sound's pretty good. The newer sounds with the Revolution boards sound pretty good. They got startup sounds. It's not bad. I like it for what it is. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, like I tell a lot of people that the sound's not, like complete Phoenix quality, but, it's what I like to call decent sound.
Yep. I've got Phoenix and a couple engines, and I don't know, for the money, I would just probably stick with Revolution. Don't shoot me. I mean, Phoenix is a lot of money.
You got 4 people on here that are saying Rail Pro. Looks like you're a little outnumbered.
Yeah.
People keep talking about it.
I like Rail Pro sound. It is amazing. The sound, the features with the controller, I love it. I wish the range was better.
That's one thing I've heard is the range is a little bit shorter on it compared to
Crest.
A lot.
It is not a little. It's a lot shorter.
Okay.
Yeah. And the handheld controller is huge compared to the Revo is like a cell phone. I mean, it's about that big. The other one is pretty good size. I mean, you can't put it in your pocket. But if that's a downside to have great sound, I'm probably willing to give it a shot.
And I would like to thank everybody. Mike, sorry to interrupt, but Michael is saying, "Hey guys, appreciate this live show, putting it on." So I appreciate you guys tuning in tonight to watch us. And like I said, sorry to interrupt, but go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, the little bit I've seen of the Rail Pro, it definitely seems like it has, a lot of nice features. I haven't heard any steam sound from it. The diesel sounds I've heard, though, have been pretty decent. It seems like you can do a lot more customization with it if you completely gut the engine and rewire it.
There was a guy I don't want to give his name out, but the last guy that was at Robbie's open house put a custom sound into it, and it was "Move, get out the way" on the steam engine.
I think I know who it is.
So, yeah, you can do a lot of customization with it. and it just sounds so good. I just wish the range was much better. That's my only thing, but I'm still going to do it. My next 2 sets of engines, that's what's going in it. So,
And I think when I saw the Rail Pro will do track and battery power for people that like to stick with track power.
yep, you can go both ways. So, yeah.
Okay.
Which I know is one thing I think is a limitation with AirWire is I think people have used it on track power, but AirWire doesn't like support it.
No, not really. AirWire is more or less for battery power. I have seen people run AirWire and track power, but it seems to be one guy ran into an issue where it was polarized, meaning that you could only go in one direction with it.
Yeah, you got to have a bridge rectifier in there.
Yeah.
I have a 44-ton USA that I have one of the. Oh, you've probably seen them, Matt, at Robbie's, the small Revo boards. I don't know if they call them a micro board or whatever. They don't have the bridge rectifier built into them, so I have a separate bridge rectifier in there to. That way, I can not have to worry about which way the polarity is off the track.
Thomas is asking, what type of batteries are you using for your power source?
Oh, that's a good question.
Ooh.
Are you using LiCAD or are you using lithium? What are you using?
They're all LiPo. I've got a couple here. One of them is an RCS America battery. It's 18.5 volts, 4400 mAh. Let me get that out of the way.
Oh, okay.
I've got 2 of these in my Dash 9 CSXs. I don't think they make these anymore. They're 14.8 volt. They work. I don't like them. The runtime is really long because they're 6800 mAh, but the 14.8 volts is weak for that kind of heavy of an engine and pulling a bunch of cars. So that being said, if you want to run at a scale 50 mile an hour with those engines, you almost have to have it wide open for it to look almost prototypical. But they last forever. I mean, they do. The MAH is the battery power. So if I was going to do it again, it would be higher voltage. But at that time when I did it, that was all that would fit inside the engine. And that was, I don't know, probably 3-4 years ago. So they've come out with better batteries since then.
I like to cheat a little bit because I run track power mostly, and if I come to like someone's house like yours, Matt, where you're just battery, I like to bring my Ryobi drill batteries, and I have an LGB box car that the roof will come off of. I just throw the battery in there, and I got a pigtail that clips on there, and I just plug it into the back of the engine.
I'll probably run 90 mile an hour too. With a
18 volt. If I'm running 1 or 2 engines, I don't know. I maybe get 3, maybe 4 hours out of a battery.
Yeah.
But someone that isn't like diving full tilt into battery. I mean, you know, how many people have cordless drill batteries? You know.
Oh, yeah, I got a right here on the floor next to me. Yeah, my favorite's the cordless Renovations 22.2 volt. That sucker will rip in a GP40. I mean,
oh wow,
yeah, you put one in each GP40, and you can run at a scale speed of 30 mile an hour for days on end, and it will pull a train. Yeah, but I didn't, and that's another thing I didn't know when I started this. The voltage of the batteries will dictate how much you can pull as well. So.
Yeah, I've got a friend that has remote couplers on one of his engines, and he's got, I think, a 14.4 volt battery in there, and it's not quite enough for it to kick and actuate the coupler. So he has to get up to an 18 volt battery for it to work like it should. And
little things like that is why I started putting batteries in the engines. I know a lot of people are against it. But the extra weight plus that battery is powering just that engine. I don't have to worry about one battery trying to power 3 or 4 pulling.
I see Joseph saying about cordless Renovations isn't around anymore. They used to be at the show, didn't they? All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gone now.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got one of the chargers somewhere on my shelf over there too. Maybe two of them actually, but they were just little plain chargers for just that specific battery. They were just little cheap, like $20 or $30 chargers. They weren't a smart charger.
Yeah, I think I got one here somewhere because I got an engine that came with a couple of those batteries. It just kind of looks like a laptop power brick.
Yeah, it's
so to
exactly
speak.
what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's a square with an on-off and run button, and that's all it's got.
I'm a little bit interested in the picture that Andrew threw up here. What can you tell us about that flat car?
That's a custom-built 89-foot flat car with two custom Aristo trailers. Those were Roadbed trailers from Marty Kozad. I was fortunate enough to get several of his flat cars. I didn't quite get them all.
Aren't the road railers usually longer than that?
He cut those down.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Those look good.
Yeah, he cut those down to make them fit the flat car. The road railer cars, and I do have a couple of them around here, they are a lot longer than that.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, is that a full-length road railer in that picture, or is that a different trailer?
That's a cut down road railer.
That one's cut down as well?
Yep. The actual ones, I should have done a side by side so you could see how long they were. Because
I was just looking to see what pictures you had sent me here. Here's another one.
See,
Okay,
those are all the cut down cars.
I mean, those look long for a cut down car, actually.
Yeah, they look pretty good too.
Yeah, those are cut down. I've got two more of his 89-foot flat cars, and gosh, probably four more trailers. And the other trailers are not cut down, which we talked about before. I've got one of the original Aristo trailers. I've got a Swift trailer. Oh, and I've got another one that's not cut down. I'd have to look and see where it's at. But yeah, that's the cars. That's one of the underneath of the cars. Some of them had more detail on top, but I was just
so do the couplers pivot very far on those? Like, that seems like a pretty good overhang from the trucks.
Yeah, it's tight. They'll go around a 10-foot radius curve. I'll give them
really.
That. Yep.
Wow.
Yep, I'll give them that. I didn't think they would, but they did. They didn't like it. They looked goofy.
So, how did you end up getting Marty Kozad's freight cars?
Gosh, I met him back probably the very first open house Robbie had. And this was probably, it may have been before I even had a layout. I'd gone to Robbie's open house.
You're just really rubbing it in now.
I'm just mad I never made it to his house when he had the layout going. I kicked myself for not just taking the time off of work and going up there. But he came down to a couple of Robbie's open houses, and then he got into Right On Scale not too long after we met. And I just messaged him. I'm like, hey, I was like, if you ever want to get rid of anything, just let me know. I was like, I'd love to have some of your stuff. I was like, you got some custom built stuff that I'm not smart enough to do. And he got a hold of me and said, hey, I'm going to be selling some stuff. And I'm like, what do you got? And he took a picture of his shelf. And I'm like, I like that. I was like, he's like, well, some of that's already gone. I'm like, And then I got these and the railguns. I've got a UP Evans boxcar that has him and his wife's initials on it and graffiti. What else do I got? I got a couple of just some neat things that just cool. I mean,
well, I see our friend Colin from our last show just popped in there in the chat. He's on his Trainwreck Films account.
Oh, I didn't know he had that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So, how much did you end up getting from the Marty Kozad collection?
Oh shoot, 8 or 10 cars, maybe, not including the semi trailers. Those were kind of just a added bonus. He didn't want to get rid of them. I told him he could keep them, but he was getting out of them, and He's like, I know you're not going to sell this stuff on eBay and make money. I'm like, I don't sell anything, dude. I'm like, it's getting buried with me. So,
You know, when I was still in G scale myself, the one thing that really attracted me that he had that I liked were uh, the custom USA Trains center flow hoppers with the North Table Creek logo scheme on them. I thought that really, those cars really look sharp, and I especially love the photo. There was a few photos that he would show with those cars parked in front of a silo
that
facility.
massive silo, yeah.
I mean, that was just an awesome scene. I thought I really loved that.
I wish I could have got one of those North Table Creek cars. I would. He had a bunch of coal cars too, and I'm not sure where those went to. The whole layout's gone. Somebody got the massive bridge, that big, huge expansion that went.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wow.
It's gone.
And do you know if somebody actually ended up with that silo? I mean, I'm hoping somebody did because that was a cool piece.
I would assume so. I mean, he wasn't just going to trash stuff, so he wanted it to go to a good home. So I'm sure somebody got it, and it's probably on a layout somewhere right now. I don't know who. I'd probably have to ask Robbie. Robbie would probably know more than me.
Okay, yeah.
Robbie probably knows a lot more than a lot of us.
Way more than me.
I was just looking here.
So
So don't mind me.
I stumbled into this.
And so you have your own YouTube channel, right, Matt?
Yeah, I do. I've got Southern Illinois G Scale. Really just kind of started it for my own benefit. I had free storage for videos, and I could kind of gauge the progress of my layout. I could go back and watch videos and see how things came along. I never think it would get popular. I really didn't. I didn't know people like trains. I had no idea.
And so you just started doing more videos and putting them on during your progress?
Yeah, I would do videos of my layout, and then they started getting lots of views, and I didn't share them anywhere at that time. I share them on Facebook groups now, but other than back then I didn't. And I thought, people like watching trains besides me? I'm like, this is kind of weird. So I was like, I wonder if they would like if I went to friends' houses and did their videos, like the Bluestone Southern in Nashville, Illinois, and then like Ken Miller's house. I'll take video. I'll just make a short video of it. I mean, it documents their progress and gets to show more trains to more people and keeps this hobby alive. I mean,
I said, okay, Sean popped it up there. I was going to say, you can put it up there, Sean.
Okay.
No, I pulled up your channel here while Sean was talking about it, and you definitely have a wealth of videos on here.
Wow, look at that.
One or two. Some of them have Ken's trains in them, just kind of random.
Nice.
Now,
and what's your channel called again?
That one there's actually kind of interesting.
Hold on.
The mainline expansion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right after I got that mainline expansion done. So I ran the coal train. I think that coal train's got a DPU on it too, if I remember right.
Let me see if I can move that quality up.
Coal train's a little longer than what it was in the other video.
There we go. So so you didn't do gravel or like a ballast roadbed or anything when you did your expansion there.
No.
How did you what do you have going on there? That's kind of neat.
It's PVC trim board by Royal Moldings. I would take one strip and I would cut it down into 2-inch blocks, and then I would screw that block in between two pieces, and you would make a ladder all the way down.
Oh, okay.
Use Schedule 40 PVC pipe. I would stake that in the ground. I didn't really have a distance because it kind of depended on where the ground was when I was staking it. But I mean, they're fairly close together, probably 18 inches if I was guessing, maybe closer in some places. And that keeps everything secure. And you don't have anything to worry about with derailments or anything. It's a nice, sturdy, solid roadbed. And if I choose, I can come back across it and ballast it. I have a couple of ideas.
Wow, you really looped out and around there, didn't you?
Yeah, there's probably 400 something extra feet of track that I put down.
How long would you say it took you to, with assembling the ladder and that, how long would you say it took you to extend that out and back in like you did?
About 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
No.
That's your original layout or original part of your layout over there.
That's the original part over there. But the expansion was probably 2 weeks. By the time I was taking measurements and judging the grade, and I wanted some places that had high and low spots. So I didn't want it perfect, but I didn't want a train to derail. So I had to judge the distance over a longer run. And if you get down close in some of the videos I take, you can see the cars, they will rock like kind of side to side. And you can see two cars will rock in places. And I've ran trains for all year this year, and I had a single derailment on that side. So it turned out really good. I'm tickled to death with that part. The part where the train's going across now will be a bridge or a trestle. I have not decided yet. I have the trestle bents, but I don't know what that's going to look like because there's going to be a bridge on the other side going across. I've got two metal bridges coming that are 12 foot each. I don't know if that would look weird with a trestle in front. I don't know. It may be all right. It may just be me thinking in my head.
You can drop that down, Sean. Just so I don't start playing somebody else's video. We get a copyright strike or something.
So Kurt's Trains is asking, I would like to add sound to my USA Trains switch engine, and I'm taking it to probably either NW2 or an S4. He's asking for suggestions. You guys have it
for sound?
Yes.
Gosh, for the money, Revolution's probably the way to go because you can actually program those now. They make a little dongle that you can plug into it and download sounds off their site.
I've actually done a couple of those with my friend Cody. Yeah. And before anybody asks me how easy it is to do, I have to remember how to do it each time. It's not like super difficult, but the instructions aren't 100% clear, but it's not too bad to do. I've even upgraded some of the older Crest ones.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's not bad. I don't know how else to phrase it, but I've not personally done one, but I've seen Robbie do them, and sometimes it's like, oh, that was good, and then sometimes you hear Robbie cussing. So
Joseph is asking, do you have a problem with frost heaving?
No, none, zero, not a bit.
Now, is that with, both? And I know your two parts of the layout are done differently. Like, you don't have any issues with either part of your layout, the ballasted or the.
No,
very nice.
And that was one of the fears when I started. Everybody was like, if you have track on the ground and down where I'm at, it gets cold, you're going to have frost heave. So that's why I built the original section, I'm pointing because it's back there. The original section is in that trough with a good probably 4 or 6 inches of 2-inch gravel in it, and the track is on it, and then everything was ballasted and then backfilled on the sides. So I think I did overkill on that. Actually, I know I did overkill on that. It was too much. I could have used PVC trim board, but I didn't know at that time that I could have done that and backfilled and been just
with overkill. You don't have to worry about it now.
No, yeah. There's nothing to worry about. It's fine. I don't even use rail clamps. It's just all connected with regular joiners. I don't.
Wow.
Yeah.
As I say, I have clamps on all of my stuff.
Nope, not a single rail clamp.
Michael is asking, Matt, any tips for the PVC ladder roadbed? It just so happens that I installed my first 20-foot today, and I have 150 foot to go.
Make sure you buy Royal Moldings PVC trim board. You can get it at Lowe's. The stuff that Home Depot sells is not 100% plastic, and when you go to cut it and you open it up,
that's that.
I can't.
What do they call that?
Filler stuff.
Composite
yes.
Lumber.
It's that.
Okay.
Don't get that. The brand is Royal Moldings. The stuff is not cheap, but you have zero things to worry about.
You get what you pay for, right?
Yeah, and one thing I've learned too, like I make my curves, I just put in the ground. Once they're in the ground and you try to pull them up, that PVC molding holds that memory. So it's really difficult to get it back out if you want a straight run. So you can use it, but if you use it again, that's probably going to be the curve you use, and that's probably going to be the straight run you use because that's how it is. It doesn't hold.
Oh, sorry. I was bad habit of talking to myself. My apologies.
So Dunbar is asking, use stainless steel or coated deck screws also?
Coated deck screws. That's what I used. Coated deck screws.
Just like the gray silver colored looking ones, or
I use green. Yeah,
green?
it's what I found on the shelf at the time. I didn't even pay attention to the color, to be honest with you. I don't know how many boxes I grabbed. But yeah, I do have some stainless ones, but it's what I had left over in my yard barn, and I was down to using like a handful of screws. I'm not going to buy another expensive box of screws to finish what I had, so I used just stainless screws.
Okay.
But they work.
I was refreshing my live chat. I was wondering why I wasn't seeing the question Sean was asking about. My live chat was like 50 messages back for some reason. There we go. Now I'm up to speed.
And let's see what we have here.
We had someone that was asking about the sounds earlier. It's not the best video in the world. I pulled up that I did record some of the sounds from the Revo in one of the videos I did, Sean. I don't know if you wanted to pop that up there or not. I think I got the sound. I didn't do a real great job with this. It was a while ago. I have a problem with Conrail. I think the only thing I'm missing is like an SD60 or SD70 sound they did.
Yeah, I've got this down.
I like this one. It's got the air compressor pops and that in it.
Yeah, get the water cleaning out of the airlines. I like that one. I've got that in my SD45. Yeah, I like the pop-off sound on that. It's mute. It's a lot quieter than the other ones, but I do like it.
Something to notice, some of these sounds you can do single horn blasts on. I think it's the number 4 key. And of course my low-tech for the couple of steam sounds I did. There's my Ryobi battery.
I was going to say, there's those batteries we were talking about.
I do have this in actual steam locomotives now. I just didn't have it in at the time.
I have 0 steam engines. I probably ought to look into getting something like that.
These are Revo sounds you're showing off?
Yes. Yeah, this is all Revo sounds, Sean.
Yeah, because somebody was actually asking the question.
Now, one I don't have in here, I think, is the number 90 from Strasbourg that they did. That one sounds really nice, too. I need to update this.
Joseph mentions that there is somebody who makes 3D printed scale bells for the USA Trains
Drop it
MW2.
down, Sean.
Did you hear me, Andrew?
Yeah, what's that?
Did you hear me?
I heard you say something about 3D printed.
Yeah, but I was saying that Joseph had mentioned check out Manual on Thingiverse. He has nice 3D print scale bells for the NW2.
You know, I'm actually kind of glad he said that because that bell looks way too large to me all the time. I look at it and I'm just like, I got it on the shelf back here. Yeah, it's like the size of the stacks on the engine. I'll have to check that out.
John is asking, does anyone make a pumpkin spark arrestor for the switcher?
I'm not exactly sure specifically what a pumpkin spark arrestor is, but I know I saw someone that did make a spark arrestor for the NW2, and I'm trying to think. It was probably something else on Thingiverse or something else 3D printed.
Yeah, because I think Canadian National or Canadian Pacific, I think it was Canadian National that used them on their switchers.
I wish I could. I'm gonna have to start keeping a repository of this stuff when I see it.
Yeah, you never know when somebody's going to ask a question.
Yeah, I can go. Yeah, I think I saw that before, and where did I see that at? Yeah, I'm gonna have to start keeping a list here of stuff. I'm still new to this, guys. Bear with me.
Yeah, it's like our third stream.
Yeah, I guess this will be our third one. Yeah.
So yeah, we're still learning. We're still trying to get the handle on the show, and as you can see, as you guys ask questions, which I'm glad you're getting involved, I can actually bring your question up onto the show, and you get an answer right then and there live. So that's what's different about this live show. You can actually ask a question, and you can get an answer right there instead of just shooting a video broadcast and then posting it, and then we answer your question later. So you get your questions answered in a reasonable amount of time, right then and there, basically. All right, what you got there, Andrew?
I think that's an AML covered hopper, isn't it, Matt?
Yep, that's an AML.
Now I'm looking at it, and did you actually do some sanding on it to make the lettering kind of worn off, or how'd you do that?
Several coats of matte finish clear coat to start with, and then I used an acrylic white paint and a really fine tip brush and would dab it on top of the lettering. And before it dried completely, I would dab it off. And
wow.
And then I would clear it again, and then I would do that again until I could get the paint to fade to where it looked like some of the lettering was almost gone. And I did that with the giant Chessie logo, which you can't see in that picture. I took a bad picture, but it's the same way. It just looks faded.
I was looking to see if you'd given me another picture of that one or not. I've got a different one here. Let's see what this one looks like. Yeah,
you can kind of see it there. Yeah, you can see, and the roof hatches are all different weather too, but you can kind of see it looks white there, and that's kind of funny how the sun can change how things are shown. But it was just white paint, and just dab it off, and then clear it, and let the clear dry, and do it again. It's just a long, slow process.
Yeah, I would not. Looking at it, I would have thought you sanded some of the lettering off, or used some thinner or something to clean some off. I wouldn't have guessed that you actually just went over top of it. That turned out really good.
Yeah, literally just acrylic white paint and a little tube that you can get at Walmart for 98 cents or something. That's all I use.
I see our friend Heath from I never know how to say his channel name properly, Sean, because he's got the C in the bracket.
It's Human City Junction.
Is it Human? Okay, I never know if he has the C in there to make it silent, or. I see Heath commented though, that he had an LGB starter set, but this is showing him a different side of G scale, and that's actually kind of an interesting comment because I was an HO scale years ago, and what kept me out of G scale was I had no interest in the European stuff that was out there, or the little 2-axle cars, and not that there's anything wrong, with that stuff. I mean, I know a lot of people enjoy it. It's nice stuff, but when I started seeing actual, things you see going down the main line is what started drawing my attention into it. And it's looking at the pictures in the video, Matt, it seems like you're kind of drawn a little bit more to more prototypical or more modern stuff, so to speak.
Yeah, that's where I lean. I like to run what I see or what I've seen as a kid growing up. So it'll be anywhere from late 70s, really late 70s, early 80s to now. I like to see that.
Correct.
And I have friends that do live steam, and they're huge into the LGB world. Everybody's got their thing. I mean,
I see someone was asking if you belong to a club in your area. Where'd that message go to, Sean?
Yeah, there's no clubs around here.
You got RLD. What do you need a club for, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I got Robbie. The closest club is, I think, in St. Louis, which is about 2 hours and 45 minutes from here. I don't know. There's no clubs anywhere near me at all. It's fine.
It seems like there's very few clubs once you get Midwest to the East Coast. Seems like there's a lot of your bigger clubs are all West Coast California.
Not too many people here. That's probably
I think the biggest ones here in Ohio, like I said, of course, Columbus Garden Railway Society was in our chat there earlier. And then, of course, there's the Cincinnati Garden Railway Society, but those are both pretty large ones. And then up here in my area, we have, of course, the Buckeye State Garden Railroaders, and we also have the Northern Ohio Garden Railway Society, NOGRS. So, actually, no, we got another one in Ohio too. I think it's like down around Dayton, Ohio, Miami Valley Garden Railway Society. I guess we got more in Ohio than I realized. We need to send a couple over your way, Matt. We need to send a couple to you.
Trainwreck Films is saying RLD should start his own club.
I think he has. Twice a year.
Yep, pretty much, yeah. It's a pretty good show. It really is.
I haven't paid any attention to see. I haven't looked at Robbie's Facebook or anything. Has he made any mention of open house for next year already? Or
yeah, it's coming. I don't think the dates are set yet, but it's definitely coming. There's been some more work done to the layout, so it'll be a surprise for those that don't get to get up there that often. So,
I'm going to mention here, Columbus Garden Railway Society mentioned they have a YouTube channel, which I did not know that. So yes, I'm going to have to check them out on YouTube.
I'd like to mention, because I, for some reason, forget, I guess, because everything that's gone on since I joined, I haven't had the chance to participate, but I actually do belong to the Columbus Garden Railway Society. I joined, I think it would have been October last year, maybe. And I think I was down for one event in their Christmas party, and then everything went absolutely insane this year. So sorry, Columbus Garden Railway Society. I haven't been down. Hopefully, hopefully we can get back around to getting together again. Yes, yeah, I've been around so little. They even said, really? They didn't even realize I belonged.
Ken Miller says, Nashville, Tennessee, guys, big club.
Yeah, they'll be having the rescheduled convention there
yes,
next year, right?
Yeah, there's a huge thing there, yeah.
Oh, and that reminds me, I got to get on Robbie's website and order myself one of the convention hoppers.
Oh, I've got one of those.
He's selling those on his website?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Every little bit helps. Yeah, guys, make
Those
sure
are
you
pretty
buy
nice
those.
hopper, aren't they, Matt? I haven't seen them up close, but the pictures I saw looked like the graphics on them were pretty nice.
Oh, the graphics are beautiful. Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah, guys, make sure you help out the National Garden Railway Society in Tennessee, and consider purchasing their cars so they can come out with new ones for the next year's convention.
Yeah.
Oh, I see someone's got a. I see Colin who was on last week has a question for Matt. Oh, what do we got there, Matt?
National Guard Railway Convention.
Oh, nice.
Tumbler. What are we looking at?
Let's see. You see the question there from Trainwreck Film, Sean?
Oh, we'll take on 906 coupler box. I like the slack action. I run 906s on everything except the engine.
You do like the slack action?
I love it. I like when you're running a long train and it takes off, you can stand there for probably a minute before the back end's even taken off, and you can actually hear it banging as it takes off. I like that. I don't know.
Well, that's part of a real train, because a real train does that. You know what I mean?
It's the same thing. So
yeah, because even like the big box cars, when you get into your real railroads, the 60-foot box cars and the 89-foot box cars, they have shock control on the couplers. So there's, even within, there's quite a bit of slack.
Yeah. I love it. I love that sound. I love the realistic, even when they're going up and down. I've got some minimal grades here and there, and you can see the cars coming back and forth in places. It's just cool. I mean, I like it.
So Ken Miller mentioned that they are working on 2021 cars, and they will be doing one.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. I think I saw did the registration open up already for
Yes.
Yeah.
Registration already. I don't know the website off the top of my head.
I see Colin from Trainwrecks replied back. He was saying the prototypical couplers don't have a spring that goes. What's he saying? Prototypical couplers don't have a spring that goes out, though. Oh, as far as I guess on prototypical couplers, do they have that actually that much? Like, I don't think they have that much. I think I got some of the 906 on it here. Hang on. I think what Colin's saying is on the, the nut. See if I can get up there close enough. I mean, you have I don't think a real coupler has quite that much pull on it, I think is what he's saying. They might have a little bit of play, but not quite that much, I think is what Colin's saying. One thing I will say about the slack action is I have seen about an 80 car train that rounded a corner and started coming downhill, lose power and stop on a dime. And it's kind of scary as all those cars start running into each other and the slack starts coming back together. Because I'm pretty sure the last car on the train snapped off its coupler when it finally hit.
Makes a
kind of like cracking a whip.
Yeah, it will make a lot of noise. Yeah. Robbie, I think maybe 2 years ago, he had a crossover on his layout, and one of the tanks caught the crossover and sheared it off the engine, and to hear 60 USA Trains cars, the heavy ones, it was just boom, 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 boom. The engine went over, sheared it off. Traffic stopped in the entire layout. He had to repair parts right there on the spot.
That just sounds bad all the way around.
It was wild. Yeah.
All right. I just Ken was trying to post a link to the National Guard and Railway Society, so I was trying to help him out with that.
People are wondering what I'm doing. I'm just kind of trying to look at a chat screen I have back behind the screen.
John mentions that they make it easier to start a long train.
Oh, having the slack action in there?
Yes. And then Canadian Railroads also mentions that cushion drawbars have a lot of play. They cause a lot of issues if not respected.
One thing I will say about the 906 couplers versus like the 907 type is they do have a greater range of motion side to side. Something John Sinkovich asks about often is, body mounting a coupler on like the front of a Mikado or a Pacific. And I did a mock-up at one time, just kind of holding a coupler up and setting one on an 8-foot curve. And the 906, you can actually, it has enough pull that it can come back and stay center line over the track. As where if you use like a 907, it's hanging over the outside rail as it goes around. I think both couplers have their use,
Yeah. Steve Junkst mentioned to send an email message to National. He provides an email here. If anyone is interested in purchasing a 2020 unconvention hopper car, this is a hopper car that was meant for a convention that never happened. So this car could very well be like a collector's item later on. It's $70 for a single car and $29 shipping discounts for larger combined club orders.
Huh. Did we scare Matt off? Did he run away?
No, he's probably going to grab one of those cars and show us.
Just kidding.
This is via Ken Miller.
And so here we go. This is the card that.
Oh, wow.
This is the convention card that for a convention that really never happened. It's got really nice graphics on it. It's made by Pico, which is off the MDC mold. So it's a good quality card. The paint scheme is pretty crisp and I think it's a nice piece to have in your collection. So try and support the National Guard and Railway Society, and so they can go ahead and they need to sell these cars so they can make the 2021 cars. So if everybody could go out and support them. I know, as Matt said, that RLD Hobbies was had them for sale as well. So the more we buy, the more cars they can provide us for the 2021 event. And so Ken Miller says, thanks for mentioning the 2020 convention cars. RLD returned his supply to us. We still have cars available. So, yeah, we are here to support the hobby in whatever way we can. So if you need us to get the word out to everybody, we'll be more than happy to help you with your club or whatever you're trying to do for the G-Scale community.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if I met Ken Miller before or not. His name sounds familiar. Is Ken part of the committee or for the convention?
Yes. Yep.
He's the man.
He's the man.
Yep.
Jen's Bang is asking, how do you print on that car? I don't know how they did it. I don't know if it's a screen print. Lionel has been doing actually printer. They've been actually using printers to do their artwork on trains. I don't know if G-Scale's gotten that complicated or not, but
I have no idea. You can see no edge to any of the paint. It's all smooth.
Is it the same scheme on both sides, Matt? Is it the same photo?
Yes.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah. But you cannot see any edge, so it's not like you can see a vinyl strip with a line on the edge where it should stop. It's all smooth.
So it's probably like pad printed, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know. I wish I could get it.
Yeah, I don't see like a decal film or anything around it.
Yeah, it's not like a decal.
I mean, that is just it's awesome. It's sharp. Yeah, that's not a decal.
Oh,
I mean,
sorry.
It's so clear. That
Ken says it's screen printed, but Kenny Kincaid just reminded me why Ken Miller's name sounds familiar to me. It was the video of his layout after the tornado hit right before the convention was supposed to take place. I remember now. Wow, I'm sure that was not a fun experience in the least.
No, Ken lost a bunch of train layout. It was a bad deal.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing the video, and it seemed like thankfully the one thing it did miss was a shed.
Oh God, yeah. Oof.
Very nice. So
Someone was asking how much that car sells for. I think that was who mentioned that in
Ken
the chat? Was
said,
it Ken?
yeah, he said it was $70.
Yeah, I was gonna say 69.95.
Oh, he said RLD returned his supply to them. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I
I,
missed
I,
that
I
part. I'm glad I saw that.
yeah, but I posted that up on the screen, so you must have missed it.
Well, you know.
That's why I'm doing this, so you can see that pop in front of you.
We see, you know, after we're done with the show, I like to go back and actually watch it. So if it's a 2-hour show, it takes me 4 hours because I watch it and then I go, oh, wow, I missed that. Interesting.
Yeah.
So
Trainwreck Films is asking, how do you run battery power or track power?
I'm battery power only. I originally started to do track power, but realized it was going to be too much work. So all my engines are battery power. All the way I go to run at, they're all battery power as well. So if I took one of my engines, I could just put it on their tracks and take off.
now, when you went to battery power, did you just disconnect the leads that were going to the track pickups, or did you completely take the wiring out for that?
On the Aristo engines, I didn't do anything. I just put a battery in a trailing car and ran them. The USA trains, I took what they called skates, I think they're called.
Oh, the pickup shoes? Yeah.
Slide shoes, yeah.
Those are off. But I've only got 2 USA trains engines, so it's the 2 SD40-2s on the top shelf. That's all I have for them. And one of them has a battery in it, and the other one needs a battery in it still. So one of them has the plugs coming out for a battery car. The other one doesn't have plugs. The chassis doesn't have the plugs. It's got the battery in the tank.
Yeah, I've got a couple. I see John Sinkovich mentioned about the DPDT toggle in them. I've got a couple I've set up that way so I can run battery or track power in them.
Yeah. Track only is the way I went. Because I figured, and at that time when I started going to battery power, I didn't know there were other layouts within a driving distance of me. So, and I still really haven't taken any trains to anybody else's house, but I probably will, like Ken's house. I could see myself taking trains too. Ken brings his train, he bought some trains up last time here to run. So,
yeah. I was just going to show on this 4410 that I have, there's actually on the, look at the screen here, see if I got that in the right place. I actually have a toggle in there, center position off, but one side's track power, the other side's battery, and then I just have the battery plugs added to the end. Or rather, I should say my friend Cody added the battery plugs to the end. I don't want to take credit for his work. I've done it to other engines, but he was conveniently not busy.
So Trainwreck Films is asking, do you use a battery car or install the batteries in each locomotive?
some of my engines have batteries in them, not all of them. Eventually, they will all have batteries in them, but the cost is what's from putting a battery in every one right now. So I have, I think 3-9s that have batteries in them. One SD40-2, the chassis has a battery in it. And then the rest of them will use a battery car behind it.
Do you ever have any concerns about, charging the batteries in the engines? I can't say I've seen too many batteries like catch fire or anything. I know, I've seen a few people kind of have concerns about that.
I did. I really did at the beginning. When I put my first one in the -9, I was worried about it. But then I met Andy and Jane Clark, who own the Bluestone and Southern Railroad and have, I couldn't even tell you how many engines. I mean, it's insane. And everything, all the batteries and everything is in the engine. And I mean, we're talking 10 plus years of zero issues. So I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I like the convenience of having the batteries in the engine and not having the same trailing car behind it every single time. That drives me nuts. That L&N box car I have that has the battery in it, and like 90% of my videos drives me nuts.
So Cody is asking, did you make the loads on the longer green flat car that you have?
Longer green. Is that something that's in the picture behind Matt right now?
I'm not sure why he's asking that.
And I've only got engines behind me.
I'm looking for his question here.
Yeah, question from Matt.
How did you make the loads on the longer green flat cars you have?
The longer green flat cars.
I wonder if it's something that must have been something that showed up in one of the video clips I was playing.
Now I don't remember what I have.
I think we might have talked about that before.
We might have.
You know, it's always a happy coincidence when you find something you know.
Yeah, I ain't seen that in a while. I like that. Oh,
Yeah, sometimes you get something new and you got to hide it for a little bit, and then when you get it out and the wife asks where it came from, you go, "Oh, I've had that forever. You've never seen that before?"
Oh, been here for years and years.
Honestly, dear, I swear, if you're watching, I've had that boxcar forever. Cody says it was in the one older video.
What was the green? I had a green flat car.
Can you tell us, Cody? Was it like the video that was up, like when Matt first started his layout, or was it like the last video we had up?
Yeah.
Gosh,
now I want to kind of look and see if I can find this video he's talking about.
I'm curious. What in the heck was it?
It wasn't a center beam car, was it?
I don't have any center beams.
Oh, no?
Okay. Not yet, at least, right?
I've got a few random flat cars. I've got a bulkhead flat with the wood load on it. I don't know what it'd be.
I got too many windows open here in front of me now. Okay, that's that.
I don't know what it would be.
Let's see here. I'm just trying to get back to my other window here. I'll go back to Matt's channel. I'll look for that here. Give me a moment and I'll see if I can pull that up. Well, don't sit and look at me, guys. You're making me all bashful over here now.
So how easy is it to run like 2 locomotives on a battery power pack?
Oh, you can get hours of runtime off of one battery. They have an MU connector between the engines. You just plug them together. And then your Revo controller, it's got a setting where you can multiple unit MU 2 engines together.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, and you can still get several. I mean, we're 3-4 hours off of like 2 GP40s would run 3 or 4 hours. So I was worried in the beginning, like, oh, I'm going to get 20 minutes of runtime, like with an RC car.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah, you're giving me nightmares of like Radio Shack RC cars with alkaline batteries in them.
I was like,
10 minutes of fun on Christmas morning, and all right, batteries are dead.
10 and done. Yeah, you're done. So, and I got to thinking, pulling long trains with 2 engines, I'm going to get like 30 seconds of runtime. Like, I didn't understand at the time that this, like, that's not how that works. So you can run 2 GP40s for a long time on one battery on a trailing car. Long time.
Ken Miller wants to see behind you, Andrew. He wants to see your wall.
Wants to see my wall. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, your wall of trains.
Well, maybe that'll play here. Hang on. Something started playing in the background here. I don't know. Well, I can see that or not. My camera isn't 100% mobile to be able to go back there, but you know, it's kind of G-scale trains take up a lot of room. Is that a fair statement, guys?
Oh yes, without a doubt.
And I tend to like to visit, other people's layouts and that and run stuff. And, typically you can't see them in the video, but I got some, your standard kind of square totes over here. And I keep all my stuff stored in the totes because it's a lot easier than, trying to take the stuff out of the boxes, detail pieces break off and everything else. But, I get about 4 or 6 cars in a storage tote. And I had like a wall of storage totes over here. And I said, you know what? I said, I'm thinking maybe some shelves, maybe. Then I can actually look at the stuff, I can actually enjoy it more so than looking and going, wow, those are some nice looking storage totes over there. But, they're just 3/4 inch plywood. I got them about 2 deep. I got a second row of cars back there. And I unfortunately do not own a table saw, but I made use of my router table and just set up a guide and used a 1/4 inch router bit and ran it down to make grooves for the cars to sit in so I can set them on the shelf, and they seem to stay on there fairly nicely. But, it gives you something to look at. It looks a lot better than, a wall of storage totes behind me.
So Joseph from the New Hampshire Garden Railway Society is asking, so topic for you guys. It is nice to see engines coming out from Bachman and MrPictovid, but curious your thoughts on lack of accessories like buildings and signals G-Skill has, and it goes on to mention that sadly we lost Colorado model structures and South Bend signals.
Yeah, that stinks. That really does. That I've got several the whole warehouse on my layout was from Colorado models. It's amazing stuff. I had planned on buying some signals from South Bend signals whenever I got to that point, and now I can't get them, so it's kind of aggravating. I hope somebody comes out with something because I'm not smart enough to come out with anything like that. So
I've seen a few people do buildings using like that corrugated like plastic signboard like you see for election signs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people get just plain pieces of that and use that to build structures. I don't know how well that holds up outside. I know the Colorado model kits are usually pretty rock solid once you glue them together and stick them outside.
They're solid. They're detailed. I mean, you've got the brick siding looks like brick. You can paint it whatever color you want. You can trim the windows if you want. I mean, there were so many options. It was great for the money. I mean, it really was.
I think he sold, even like if you don't want to buy a whole building kit, you could buy pieces and parts to build, if you wanted to build whatever out of it. I know a guy that did like, I don't know if it's like a 4 or 5 story like office building. He just bought a bunch of different walls and that and started going to town with them.
That's how I built my warehouse. It was just all individual pieces and then all the individual support pieces for other random buildings that I saw on his website. I pieced it all together and had a plan. And I remember when I went to his website and bought it all, Bruce, he emailed me. He was like, hey, did you mean to buy all this stuff? I'm like, I really did. It's going to be a big warehouse.
I've been out of G-Skill for 5 years, and I was hoping that the hobby was growing, but I didn't realize there were still businesses that are being lost, like Colorado model structures. That was like a major, to me, that's like a major blow to the G-Skill community, actually.
I wish somebody could pick it up or find some way to do it the way he was doing it.
Yeah.
We need that again bad.
Yeah. Dunbar is asking a battery power question. What's the smallest connector from the battery that can be used? He really doesn't like having a big ugly plug sticking out the back of an engine.
Oh Lord. I have no idea.
I mean,
about that size.
Let me see,
Hold on, I'll make you bigger, Matt. Can you show that again?
They're all the standard size. So we can go to the charger.
Yeah, I think those are the same ones I have here.
Yeah, I don't know what the measurement is though. I mean, I've got another
That's
battery
the same thing
here.
as what Matt has there.
It's the same thing. They're all the standard size. Just
I'm trying to think if I've really seen anything smaller than that.
no.
I mean, in all honesty, I mean, like when you have one of these hanging out the end of the engine, I mean, it is a fairly sizable plug to have hanging out there.
Well, you have to connect another engine to it or a battery car. So
I did see one person, and I'm trying to think who it was, that they actually used small wires, and the MU cables are actually the connections between the engines. They used like
oh wow.
I'm trying to think of what type of connector that is, but just kind of like the slip pin type connector, like where the power leads go onto the motor blocks on the USA engines.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a really neat idea. I imagine it can be a little bit tedious when you want to plug all your engines together versus one plug. But
yeah. And that's another reason why I like a battery for each engine. I don't have to worry about plugging anything together, and the plugs are all gone. It looks a little better, cleaner.
Thomas is asking, have you had to split the battery packs into smaller voltages to put them into Bachman Climax, and a 24-ton Shay is what he's going to be going to battery power on? Do you have any suggestions?
I don't. That's above my pay grade. I don't have any Climaxes or Bachman Shays, so I have no clue.
I'm guessing he's got a problem where he wants to put them into the locomotives, but there's probably not enough room for a big one, so he wants
Probably not
enough
enough
to put. Yes.
I know.
So
I know our friend Cody in the chat. I think he put batteries into his Bachman Shay. I can't remember now. He might pop up in there and comment.
Yeah, I have no clue. I'm sorry.
I know Cody has gotten different configurations of batteries at times. I know he's gotten some like kind of, I don't want to say custom made, but like, you know, a triangular shaped pack to like fit inside like an ore car and stuff like that. Yeah, Cody says, I see he answered there, Sean, if you want to pop his answer up there.
Hold on, let me get there. There it is. This is the one? Okay.
Yeah. Which one did you popped up there? Oh, don't mind me. I've got the live stream going on another device here just so I can see how it looks, and it actually lags a few seconds behind what you pop up there. So I'm looking, going, wait a minute, that's not the right thing.
Joseph mentions, and this is why I like the G Scale community because we help each other. But Joseph mentions, talk to Don at RCS. He has the smaller packs that fits, and in those, and it has done installs on them. So it's kind of like nice that everybody gets together to help each other.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing with the show in general. I think is just you know, try and connect people within the community.
Right, and Cody also mentions the 14.8 volt battery that he mentioned is available from RLD Hobbies.
I think the definitive answers for most things is, yeah, just give Robbie a call.
Robbie's a man.
I always enjoy talking to Robbie when I call him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's a joy to talk to because that's like he's always at the East Coast Large Scale Train Show, and
well, other than the one that didn't happen this year.
Yeah, and you know,
he was actually kind of glad he didn't make the venture there.
Yeah, and usually when I'm going around shooting videos of the vendors area, he just invites me in. He says, "Come on in, Sean. Just go ahead and take photos of whatever you want to take." And he's just really easy to get along with it. And I'm a diesel mechanic by trade, and you know I got to meet his dad, and his dad also worked on trucks as well. So he like understands what I'm going through and what I'm doing.
Yeah. And dude, Bob can cook. His
Cody
dad.
sent me a picture of the load he was talking about.
Oh, you find it?
Yeah, let me see if I can.
Y'all gonna have to come to Robbie's open house. I mean, God, it's a good time. Good food, good people, lots of trains, lots of trains.
Let's see here. I think I can.
Oh, it looks like a Vulcan flat car.
Yeah, I'm trying to think how I can drag this picture over.
Oh, I know what you were talking about.
It's got like,
Yeah,
it's like
it's
wood
got the
loads.
lumber load on it.
That's the LGB C&O bulkhead flat.
Oh, yes, it is. Now that you said that, yes, that is
Yeah,
exactly
it's got a wood load on it.
Yeah.
And I bought that from the Palo Verde and Western Railroad. Funny story. If Ken's still in the chat, he'll enjoy this because it was on eBay for sale. And I generally don't buy stuff off eBay, but I saw that. And I was like, that's really cool. And I like that railroad. I'd watched all their videos for the last, I don't know, 3-4 years, however long. I was bidding on it and bidding on it. And I
I'll
lost
drag
it.
the picture Cody sent us in there in a second here, Sean.
So I lost the auction. Didn't think anything of it. A day goes by. They email me and say, hey, we've got one more. We'll sell it to you for what you bid on it. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. It wasn't a week or two later after I got the train car. I was down at Ken's house. I'm like, hey, I got one of those. And he's like, where'd you get it at? I was like, eBay. He goes, I was bidding that on eBay. I'm like, we were bidding against each other. Didn't even know it. So we have two of the only two he had of those bulkhead flats. We both ended up with one of them.
You love that when you find out you're bidding against one of your friends.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, I was in his train barn. I was like, I've seen one of those. I've got one of those in my train barn.
Kind of makes you sometimes feel like before you bid on something, like you got to send out like a group message to your friends, like, all right, is anybody else bidding on this before we run each other up?
Everybody simmer down. I want to buy something. Yeah, that's what needs to happen. Like, oh, good Lord. Yeah, yep. Again. It happens.
So,
all right, I think I found the picture Cody sent me here.
did you? So, do you have any future plans for your?
I don't know if you want to pop that up there so people can see what we were talking about or not, Sean.
Yeah, hold on.
Oh yeah, that's a good car. I like that one a lot.
Just so the people at home can follow along.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw one of those for sale not too long ago, and it seems like those particular ones can become a little bit pricey.
Yeah, they're not cheap. They haven't made those in years.
I was going to say, yeah, I haven't seen them in a while.
They had those, and they made a Union Pacific, and the loads were lumber loads. They were pipe loads or a steel load.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
So
I didn't remember seeing them with the pipe loads on them.
I can't think of the guy. I don't know if it's Clay at Calvary and Western, but anyway, the guy that had the railroad, he custom built the wood load for that car. I mean, it's real wood stakes. I mean, it's sharp.
So, what Dunbar mentions it's a shame what happened to Palo Verde layout. What happened to it?
It's all sold. I don't know if somebody that bought the house was going to try to bring it back, but I think it's gone. I don't want to get into it. It's probably not.
Well, yeah,
so
that's fine. We typically try to stay away from if we're not 100% sure on stuff anyhow.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, it does seem like nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
So one time Sean was in the G scale.
There you go.
So Joseph asked, that's an LGV car?
Yes, that's an LGB bulk end flat. It's a 50-foot car, and it's a C&O chassis system. They made a Union Pacific as well.
Oh, okay.
But it did not come with that load. I don't know which load that came with. That's how I got the car, and that's how I wanted it. So it either had a pipe load on it, more than likely. I think the Union Pacific had the steel beams on that bulkhead flat, if I remember right.
I think that was
So
one of their freight cars that was actually geared towards the American type of rolling stock.
Yeah.
Uh,
More scaled to size and more realistic. Yeah.
yeah, because I remember the LGB of America days. I don't know if you remember LGBOA. The LGB actually came out with a division for a very short time before they went into bankruptcy, but they actually came out with a division called LGB of America. And Ron,
yeah, I remember that. I think they actually didn't they try to buy the rights before who to go to, Markland?
yeah, eventually went to Markland after the bankruptcy, and then of course LGBOA disappeared. But a fellow by the name of Ron Gibson actually was one of the salesmen for LGBOA.
I've heard that name before.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever met him, but I know I've heard that name before.
he was at a few shows. I mean, he used to go to the East Coast Large Scale and Trading Show because that's where I met him, Ron Gibson, and he's another trucker. Funny enough.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you, Matt, do you have any like future plans for your layout right now, or is there anything you're working on? Or
I've got some ideas. Yeah. It kind of depends on how long we're going to stay in this house. So I don't want to do a whole bunch of permanent work, but I can't leave stuff alone. So I have a few ideas I'm probably going to do as soon as weather gets better and my arm gets better. I need to finish the fence that goes along the road. I know you've seen some of my videos, that long sweeping S curve that heads out towards the road. I'm going to end up it back towards the house, and I'll probably do a mountain scene. I'm going to come through the fence and then out towards the road and back around and back into the layout. So there'll be something on the outside of the fence and the rest of the layout on the inside of the fence. And then I've got something else I want to try, but I don't know if I've got the skills to do it, but I might try it anyway. We'll see. It'll be in my YouTube videos more than likely.
I don't know. I mean, the stuff I've seen you do, you seem like you have some pretty good skills with the stuff you've done. I mean, you've attempted things that, I look at and I go, I don't know how that would turn out if I did that.
If I can do it, anybody can do it because I don't have a clue what I'm doing. So
that's okay. I don't either.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I was looking to see if we had anybody else popping up in the chat here with any questions.
That's why I keep an eye out. But looks like we've been answering quite a few questions.
Step away for 1 second here, Sean.
All right. Looks like we've been answering quite a few questions. And once again, thanking everybody who's tuned in. We're trying to do this to help the large scale community, survive at least. It looks like, every time we've done one of these shows, I hear even more bad news of places closing or going out of business. It's just sad to hear. So, we're trying to do everything we can to help this the G scale hobby survive, and we totally believe that these live shows is one of the best ways of doing it.
Well, I think a lot of times it's about perspective. Glass half full, half empty. I mean, unfortunately, we've had some places close up, but like we saw when we had Colin on last week, he was showing us some pictures of the GP60s that AML's finally gonna put out. And of course, I don't know how far off Bachman is with the re-release of the Dash 9s, but
it's pretty close. I've seen the trucks in person, so that is a very promising sign.
Oh boy, you're getting all kinds of people stirred up now.
And you got people like Colin making stuff too. I mean, that kind of stuff that the guys that can do the 3D printing and have that knowledge and capabilities of doing is awesome. I mean, that just needs to be probably the way things go. I mean,
Travis has asked me, have me and Andrew considered doing the show Saturday night or maybe Sunday, and I can answer that the best here. The problem is that as Andrew calls me Ed McMahon, because I'm actually co-hosting other shows besides being on this show. So I'm actually co-hosting a show on Thursday for Crossed Anchors. We do a show on Thursday night, and then Saturday I co-host another show. It was called the Late Night Show with Crossed Anchors, and then Sunday that's my bedtime because I gotta get up for work early in the morning. So I don't know about Andrew, but Sundays unfortunately he's out. So that's why when me and Andrew was originally thinking about a day for the show, we both agreed on Friday night. Correct, Andrew?
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, to do it on a weeknight, I mean, everybody's week. Well, I mean, this is a weeknight, but I mean, like a weeknight that's not buffering Saturday. Everybody has to typically get up and go to work, during the week. And yeah, Saturday would be great, but you're committed to Crossed Anchors, for their show, which I like tuning in and watching it too. And yeah, Sunday, I don't know, my wife might shoot me if I do on Sunday.
So that's why we picked Friday night, because it's actually perfect for both me and Andrew. We realized that people might not be able to tune in, but the good part is that this video will be available for replay, so you'll be able to replay the video as much as you want to get the information back out of it. And of course, when you hit the replay, you will see the chat come up as well. So
nice
for those
is everybody's seeing is you can ask your questions live and interact in that.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know one way or the other if any earlier time slot or whatnot would make it any different for people or not. I mean, I think we could probably shift a little bit one way or the other, but I think we wanted to kind of leave a little bit of a buffer in there because obviously we both work.
Right. Yeah, and Columbus Garden Railway Society says, thanks for putting this together. I'll recommend this show to our members. From what I see, approximately 10% of your viewers tonight are from the CGRS members.
And a third of the people on the show tonight is a member. even though I tend to forget.
And Joseph asked, what is Crossed Anchors? Crossed Anchors Railroads is another YouTube channel, and they're involved in O-Gauge. So being as how I went from G-Scale to O-Gauge in 2015, I helped them out with the O-Gauge community. So I'm still helping out the G-Scale people as well as helping out the O-Gauge community. So I'm doing both ends of it.
Yeah. Sean, what was that? 3 nights a week for you in a row, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You're tied up doing live shows.
Yeah, I'm doing 3 nights. I'm doing live shows 3 nights a week, 1 hours, and then 2 with co-hosting with other YouTube channels. So that's why Andrew calls me Ed McMahon.
I'm just waiting for you to show up with my check from Publishers Clearinghouse. I see Dunbar comment and said, when Sean can't host, Ryan Seacrest will be the guest co-host. I don't know if you have that in the budget. I mean, I'm doing this for free right now.
Well, we are gathering up on our 10:30-ish mark. So unless there's any other questions. So, Andrew, when is our next show and who's our next guest?
Let's see. So, like I said before, this show we actually did a week early because the day after Thanksgiving just wasn't going to work out. So we'll actually be going it'll actually be 3 weeks to our next show, which will be the date that we had originally settled on, which will be December 11th. And that'll be our friend Nico Corbo. I'm saying his last name right, am I not, Sean?
Correct. Yep, Nico Corbo.
We'll have him on. We're still discussing a little bit what all that show will be, but Nico does. Actually, now that I said that real quick, I posted some pictures on my Facebook page for MrPictovid. I'm going to try and do a video review on this, but one of the things will come out of there. One of the things that we'll be looking at of Nico's stuff is what you see here is a 3D printed. See, is that coming in? Okay, is a 3D printed replacement bolster for the 40-foot Aristo. Well, for the box cars, but I believe it uses the same underframe as the flat cars and the gondolas and that. But the older original runs of the Aristo 40-foot cars rode rather high. So when they did the later runs, they had new lowered floors and it looked a lot better. And what Nico did was he sent me a couple samples, and he made 3D printed replacements that actually lower the car. And what you see here is this will actually replace, the whole end section from the bolster out. So essentially, you just saw off behind the bolt. Essentially, I I don't want to make it sound too simple, but it should be a fairly simple thing to do. But because the floors are two-piece, you have the wood deck part on top and then the underframe. So you only have to saw through the one piece, but you cut that out and take the original bolster out. And in theory, these should drop in and screw into place using the original screws that went through the Aristo bolsters, and it'll lower them down. And I'm trying to think. I don't want to go too deep into this, but I was looking real quick to see if I had an example behind it. If you look, this is one of the older runs of Aristo or REA cars, and you can see there's quite a bit of gap in between the trucks and the underframe of the car. And this one here is actually one of the later runs that they had did, and you can see that you don't have that large gap in there. Probably the easiest place to see it at is on the end. I know I've got truck mounted KDs on here, shame on me, but the top of the tang for the coupler, you can see on this one, there's very little space in there. It's pretty close to the underside of the car. And if you look at this older one, you can, let's see here. You can see, I mean, there's a pretty good gap in there. I mean, I can get my whole finger in between there. I don't know, it probably drops it at least, I don't know, 3/16, quarter of an inch maybe. And what's nice with this one that does the whole end piece, as you can see, Nico actually incorporated a mounting pad for the 906 couplers, which is actually done a little bit nicer than the way Aristo did on theirs. It was just, I think, like a couple little raised ribs. He actually put a whole support and bosses underneath there for the screws.
So somebody missed the date. When is the next show again?
The next show, let me pull up my calendar so I don't say this wrong. The next one will be on December 11th at 8:30. We'll and that, I guess we should mention that again in case we got people that didn't watch before. Is that the show bounces between Sean's channel, Dakman Productions, and my channel, MrPictovid. As you see in the background there, we kind of joined together to do it under the name of Shared Asset Productions, to kind of branch out. And Sean's got a large pool of subscribers. As mine's not as large as Sean, but I got a decent amount. To kind of spread our footprint and just to kind of try and draw more people into it, and bouncing between the two channels, it can help spread our footprint a little bit. So typically, what we try to do, Sean or I, on our Facebook pages for Dakman Productions and MrPictovid, will create an event. A lot of people probably, it's how they got to this. They got invited to it, and we'll put each other on as co-hosts on there. So if you watch either one of our Facebook pages, when we put the event up on there, you'll see it. And the same way on our YouTube channels. Like this week, Sean was hosting it, but I did add it as a featured video on my channel, so it would show up there. And of course, you do the same thing now. We do have, maybe that's some, did I put that in the description of the video? I'm not sure, Sean. The shared playlist that we have that we put all the videos into them as we're doing them. That way everything's kind of grouped together. I think it's in the description of the video.
I
Pretty
believe
sure
so.
in there. I know this sounds very convoluted and confusing. I'm making it sound worse than it really is. But the biggest thing is it bounces between our channels. But
Yeah.
if you follow one of us or the other, we both link to it so that you can find it. Where do we get shared assets t-shirts? Sean, you got the experience with t-shirts.
Yeah.
See Dunbar House.
If you guys are serious about that, yeah, we can come up with some T-shirts and merch and do a Teespring thing. Yeah, I have a company that does really good work. They made this shirt for me, so I'm pretty happy with them. They're on quality Anvil shirts, so they hold up pretty well. So if you guys are really interested in that, put it in the comments. Yes, we are interested in shirts, and we'll consider producing shirts. Andrew went through the trouble of doing the artwork on the shirts, and I actually had him send me my black and red Dakman locomotive he made for me because I'm going to make up my own T-shirt with just that locomotive with Dakman Productions on top of it.
I'm glad when I did those, I did them high res because the banners I have hanging behind me, when I printed those out up close, they're actually really, really clear. If I'd done them not done them high res, I would have been redoing them again because they would have looked pretty cruddy. So
yeah, I want to ask a couple more questions before we run out of time here. Joseph is asking Matt, have you ever made it to the East Coast Large Scale Train Show?
I have not. I have never been out that way.
What?
Yeah.
I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. I've never made it to Robbie's yet.
Bit of a hike.
This question could be for both of you. Who makes the best DCC decoder for G Scale?
I'm not track power, so I don't know.
Wow. Yeah, when it comes to DCC and G Scale, everything I do is mainly been Revolution, kind of like you are, Matt. I know I've got some friends that do Airwire, Rail Pro.
I know Zemo makes a pretty nice DCC decoder. They
have their own like DCC system, I think.
There's a
they had their own DCC and sound system. So Zemo has a sound library pretty much set up like Phoenix, where you can download the sounds into their decoder. So I do know people over, especially in Germany, who love Zemo. It is available here in the United States, but I never personally ran it, so I don't know how it works. But there are videos out there with Zemos installed on USA trains.
Maybe we need to find someone that knows more about DCC and see if they want to come on the show sometime. And
there's a guy that messaged me on my YouTube channel. He's from Germany, and he had an apartment layout. And I'm drawing a blank on his name. I hate that I can't remember stuff. And he moved, and now he has an outside DCC layout where you can control the smoke, the speed out. I mean, the whole.
Oh yeah.
And I cannot think of his name for nothing. I'll have to go through my emails when I get on the computer, and I can send it to you in his name. I follow him on my YouTube channel, and he follows me too. Super cool dude, but he's got a massive layout outside right now. He's still working on, but it's all track power, stainless steel track, and DCC.
Oh, yes, he can. We should talk to Ken, Sean, and see if maybe
Ken,
he'd like to talk about the convention or the Nashville Club or anything like that.
Yeah, Ken, we would be interested in having you on the show to talk about the convention. Contact me or MrPictovid, and we would love to bring you up on the show, and we can talk about the convention, bring up the cars, and I think that would make an interesting show for everybody to see. And Ken Miller could even show off photos and video of his own layout because I know he's got a nice one.
He's got a nice layout.
Yeah, so I would love to have Ken Miller on as a guest. I would be interested if he's interested.
But when is the date for the convention again next year? Is that late May, early June? Is that when it's supposed to be?
And enter Ken, because I don't know.
I'm trying to think when it was supposed. This year's just been a blur.
Yeah.
Because I'm yeah. I want to say it was supposed to be either May or June. Man, we're what? End of November already. Good grief. May 30th to June 5th, 2021. Ken says.
Yeah, and it sounds like he would love to be on the show, and we would love to have him.
All right. One of us. Well, if I'm not friends with Ken on Facebook, I'll probably send him a friend request after we get off here. Although I might already be friends with him. I know I'm friends with quite a few people on here. But if Sean doesn't, I'll reach out to you, Ken, so we can talk about that. Because yeah, we'd love to hear more about what's going on with that coming up, or even some of the hurdles you guys have had to overcome this year, even.
Yeah, and maybe he can even give us an insight of what it's like to even put on a train show. I mean, that might be interesting too. Yeah.
The little bit I've heard, that's not a small endeavor to do. It seems like you got to put up a little bit of money up front, because I mean, you got to, when I get a hotel to set rooms aside for you for a convention and convention halls, like everybody wants their money. Yeah, it's that's right. The Gaylord Opryland Resort and Convention Center. I do remember that now from the announcements before. Are you going to go to the convention, Matt?
Maybe.
Yeah. I guess for me, it's all going to depend on how things are going that time of year. I'm hoping positive thoughts.
Yeah. Fingers crossed everything's back to halfway normal by then, and we can all hang out.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm hoping.
Yeah. Travis Stagg said I can sponsor one. No.
That's a huge undertaking as a sponsor. I mean, you got to
sponsor one. Robbie will do it.
I mean, that's something
that may happen the same date as his open house. So is there anything that you wanted to say before we finally end off on here, Matt?
I appreciate you guys asked me to do this, and I know Andrew and I talked about this is not my comfort zone, so
you and me both.
And you guys did pretty well, because I have quite a few live shows on under me, but you guys did pretty well, and I think you both were pretty informative and helpful towards the G scale community, which is what we're trying to aim for, and we're just trying to help each other out, and the people in the chat are all our friends, so we're all friends here. So yeah. It's I thought it was a great show, and I'm glad to be a part of this. It was just an idea I came up with, and I presented it to Andrew, and it just seems that it's been taken off, because I've seen our viewership was up to like 42 at one time, so it's definitely growing.
Yeah, I saw that too. I mean, we've kind of bumped up a little bit each time. What, the first show was 20, 30 some the last time, now 40 this time.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
All right, and I appreciate all the viewers who watch this show, and as Andrew mentioned, we bounce this show. I take a turn, and then MrPictovid takes a turn. So make sure you subscribe, of course, to Dakman Productions. Subscribe to MrPictovid for the events.
Don't forget to go over and check out Matt's channel, Southern Illinois G-Scale. And there should be a link to that in the description as well. Go over and check his channel out. He's got a lot of nice videos on there. I always enjoy the way he shoots his video.
Thank you.
And MrPictovid and Dakman Productions are also on Facebook as well. If you guys are there, we also list the event there. If you like this show, make sure you hit the like button because it's very important on YouTube. So the more people that hit that like button, the more it's helpful to keep these live shows going because on YouTube that's very important that you hit the like button if you like this.
Yeah, it definitely pushes it up when it shows interaction, and YouTube will suggest it more.
Right, and I hope to see you guys on our next live show, which will be scheduled on MrPictovid's channel. And as he mentioned, make sure you check out Matt's channel. And glad that everybody spent the last 2 hours with us, and we hope to see you again. And with that, I would like to say goodbye to everybody and good night and stay safe. And we'll end our broadcast and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Yep. Good night.